Hello, and welcome to Green Tech Southwest. Thank you so much for spending your lunchtime with us. We really appreciate it. Um, we'll be getting started in about six minutes or so. So we'll introduce you to the rest of the Green Tech Southwest team. But just while everyone's getting their cups of tea, their bites to eat, whatever you're using to make today's event more enjoyable, I'll just introduce a little bit about how Crowdcast works and what you can expect from today's event. Thank you again for joining us. I hear we have quite a few newcomers with us today, or first time Green Tech Southwest people, so thank you so much, and great to have you here. The Crowdcast events, it's been a little while since we've done just an online one, so just dusting off the cobwebs here, but we usually, when the speaker comes on, we love a really interactive chat, which Hannah's just popped a little message into. So please, we want to make sure that our online events are just as social and have the community feel as our in-person ones. So please do get involved with the chat, introduce yourselves, any thoughts, ideas, just feel free to chuck them in there. It definitely creates a great atmosphere. So I'll start off. I'm Ellen. I'm one of the co-founders of Green Tech Southwest. Hannah's on the buttons in the chat right now, and then you'll see Mike a bit further on. We've got a really exciting event for you today. Great way to start our September. Really looking forward to a great talk. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to our sponsors as well, who make these events possible, and what they are. So we've got AdLib, the Discourse, and we've got Crystal. So they make these events possible. Just a quick one about Crystal. They're the UK's largest independent web hosting company, running on 100% green energy. They're B Corp certified and have planted over 5 million trees. If you are stuck in a contract, do feel free to reach out to them and just mention Green Tech Southwest, and they should be able to help you out. A bit onto the event today. So we've got a couple of things about Crowdcast. If you're not familiar, although I know a lot of you might be, we'll have the opportunity to do a 60-second intro as well, which is just our way of basically making the event commune as possible. So if you would like to do a shout out, so this could be something about a project that you're working on, or if you want to share something that you think might be useful or interesting to the rest of the community, or you just want to do a humble brag, as we call it, or just about yourself, and it's just a great way to connect with other members of the community. Please do just let me know in the comments. What we'll do just before the main talk is we'll invite you on screen, so get your office looking good, as I just had to do 5 minutes ago, and you have 60 seconds to promote whatever you'd like to talk about. Just pop that in the comments, and we'll be able to make sure to grab you for our 60-second intros. Some other little features about Crowdcast. We've got an ask a question section. So if you have any questions for the speaker, we will be doing a Q&A session at the end. Feel free, just make sure to pop your questions in there, and that means we can make sure they get asked, put to the speaker towards the end of the chat. So anything that comes to mind, do pop it in there. We also make sure that these events are captured online as well after the event. So what we'll do is we'll do a write-up of the event with all the links and the links to the video, speaker slides, any information that was shared. So equally, any information that was shared in the chat, we'll make sure and put that in like a resources section for you, so nothing gets lost or wasted here. So you can find that. I'll do that sometime this evening on our website, which is greentechsouthwest.org. Hannah will probably pop a link in the chat in the next couple of minutes or so. This is, even if I do say so myself, a great resource. We've got all of our past events on there. We've done a lot on digital, but we've also done on a lot of events on circular economy, net zero, and farming, plastics, all of the above, and more. Do check it out, because all of our videos are on there, as I said, with all speaker slides and resources. So there we go, right on cue. A link to our website, and like I said, this will be available after as well. So if you didn't hear anything, don't worry about it. You'll have access to it again. We've also got a really exciting event coming up in October as part of Bristol Tech Fest. It's on the 10th of October. It'll be around charities doing cool things. We're really excited to hear from Friends of the Earth and the Centre of Sustainable Energy. That is an in-person event, but obviously, as all our events are, will also be made be broadcasted online as well for those who for Bristol, which is a little bit of a commute. So yeah, you'll have access to that too. So yeah, we should be getting started pretty soon. I can see Hannah and Mike about to enter. So yeah, welcome, and that's enough from me.
Thanks, Ellen.
Cool. Thanks, Ellen, hostess with the mostess, as always. And really, really nice to be here with you all today. And to see so many people introducing themselves in the chat as well. Keep it going, because it makes such a big difference, I think. I think we've all agreed this in the past, to have a sense of who's there, where you're calling, where you're listening from, what your interest is in the topic. And we have seen some really beautiful connections happen through the chat feed in the past as well. So folks that are here and listening, please chat away. It's very much encouraged. So I guess we're ready to get started properly. Yeah, all right then. Well, Ellen's already said a big welcome to you all if you were here a little bit earlier. We are Green Tech Southwest. Hopefully you're in the right place, and you'll be hearing from Eric Zie, our speaker, at about 1:45. Before we sort of get into a few more things, we do need to say a huge thank you to our sponsors. These events, Mike, Ellen and myself are volunteers, but we can't do this without the financial support of our sponsors. So a massive thank you to AdLib, also to Crystal hosting, and the discourse as well. So a big thank you to all of you. Is there anything else we should say around our sponsors?
No, I don't think so.
We're happy with that? All right.
Please go and buy stuff off them.
Yeah, tell them we sent you. Fantastic. Oh, this is great. And a big welcome to Sam, Ben, Andy and Tim, who have all just joined and are introducing themselves. So really nice to see you all. So we've said hello, we've done our sponsors. We should also mention that we're on LinkedIn. We do share what we think is interesting and relevant content on there, and we do likes and comments on there as well. It makes us happy to know we're not shouting into the wind sometimes. All right, so we said thank you already. We've introduced ourselves. Well, you're not really here to meet us, so we won't say any more about ourselves, but just, suffice to say hi, and we're all dead chuffed to hear. We do also have a few volunteers that help us behind the scenes. They also deserve a little bit of a shout out. So Sam, Tariq, John, if you're here online, hello, and thank you so much for all your support, especially around our hybrid events, which are always require a lot of extra hands, I think. Cool. Okay, so just a little bit about the group whilst we wait for a few more people to join us. This is what the group is all about. So Mike, Ellen and I founded this back in 2020. This is like our 42nd, 43rd event. And I think we're all pretty proud to say that none of us have missed an event yet, which is probably jinxing it. I shouldn't have said it, should I? But yeah, we've been doing this a while. The ethos, the kind of reason that we set this group up was to showcase a variety of people using tech to solve different sustainability problems using ingenious methods. We felt at the time that Bristol had two absolutely amazing kind of industries going on. There's a sustainability industry and a tech industry. But for one reason or another, those two industries were not colliding back in 2020. So that was one of the big reasons why we set this group up, was to get people talking, get people networking, and to kind of provide a bit of cohesion between those two communities. And I think the green tech space is quite well known now. I don't think that's such a new concept anymore, but it kind of felt it a bit to us back in 2020. So that's kind of what we're here for. We're all about showcasing people doing cool things and doing interesting things as well. And the other thing that has always felt really important to us with this event, with these events, and has never changed, is that we've always been about supporting a local community. So that's Bristol and the southwest of the UK, but also having an open and inclusive ethos as well. So what we mean by that is that these events are open to everyone, whether you're in the southwest and the Bristol area. I know loads of you are dialing in from all over the place today. I can see Amsterdam's popped up in the chat feed. We've got Sylvie from Austin. I mean, that's really cool. I saw Tim joining us from Australia as well. And that's kind of what our ethos is all about. You are all incredibly welcome, and we are dead chuffed to have you here. Oh, we've got Ireland as well. This is wicked. So yeah, we want you to be here, and we want you all to feel welcome. The only thing we would say is that we do know that sustainability is an emotive. Sorry, I've just noticed Iona say she's in Tottenham, which is for anyone not in Bristol is a very specific locale in Bristol. So yeah, good to see some Bristol rapping here as well. So the only other thing we do want to say is we don't really have much in the way of a code of conduct. We've never really had any problems with any of these groups so far. But the main thing we would just draw your attention to is to ask you to always be kind and considerate of others. Sustainability is a very emotive topic. We all care very deeply about making change. That's why we're here. And that sometimes means that we may have differing opinions about how things should be done, what the best solutions are, where the priorities are. We welcome discussion around those things. That's very much what we're here for. But as I mentioned, we just ask you to always be respectful and considerate that somebody's point of view might be quite different to yours, and that might be very, very good reason for that. So just bear that in mind as you chat, and maybe if you join us for our face-to-face groups as well. Cool. I think that's enough of an intro. Ellen mentioned already at the beginning, we have a whole bunch of past content around all of our talks. So every single one of our talks, oh my word, has been written up where we get the slides, and we've also recorded every single one that we've done as well. So hop on over to greentechsouthwest.org and you can find all of those here. And today's event will be no different as well. Ellen will have the inevitable task of doing the write-up, and Ellen, hopefully, I don't know, we'll normally get it out in a few days. If that feels about right to you. Fantastic. So watch this space. Eric's talk will be up there too. Right, that's enough from us. We've been jabbering away. It's always good just to give everyone a bit of time to settle in. One of the things that we've always done as part of our sort of open and inclusive ethos is we always run community 60-second intros. Now, this is an opportunity where we roll the dice with the tech gods, and anyone that wants to come on the screen, in theory, can. Assuming the tech gods let us roll double sixes and not snake eyes. You guys, any one of you can come up on the screen, introduce yourself, say hi, talk about something you're working on. Maybe if you're looking for a job or you're looking to hire, you're very welcome to jump on. If you have a request for help or guidance, or maybe if you've just been doing something interesting, maybe you found a resource or you have a knowledge of something you'd like to share with the group. When we do this in person, this is kind of like the equivalent of someone coming up to the front and, kind of taking the mic for 60 seconds and just sort of saying hi. So we would love to know if anybody would like to take this opportunity. Don't be shy. Sometimes we have like 6 or 8 people. Sometimes it's 1 or 2. Depends how you're all feeling today. Maybe you're feeling a bit quiet because, back to school, innit? So everyone's just kind of remembering how to do this work thing. But anyway, if you want to come and join us for a 60-second intro, let us know in the comments. I think we've got... I think Maya might be here, and we know Maya, who is from the discourse, one of our sponsors, wanted to come on.
We've got Elisa.
Fantastic. Elisa, hello. I haven't seen you for a while.
Good to see you too, Hannah. Hi, everyone. And thank you for this opportunity as well. Really nice to see the community and really looking forward to the talk. So my name is Elisa. I'm based in London. I'm a technical writer currently open to part-time and freelancing opportunities in documentation and knowledge sharing. So I write things like user guides, FAQs, training materials, templates, release notes, anything that requires you helping getting your customers or your employees understand how to use your digital product, whether it's like a mobile app, a website, a web platform, anything like that. Feel free to connect with me. I'll pass my details again in the chat. Thank you.
Wow, Elisa, you just nailed that 60-second intro. Thank you for modeling exactly how we want that to go. And Elisa and I have met a few times through the climateaction.tech community. Elisa's wicked, so hit her up with some work. Cool. All right. Thanks, Elisa. We'll say goodbye to you. Please do share your details in the chat. Mike, you can see Mike's got his concentrating face on. He's clicking all the buttons and getting everyone up on the screen. So, Mike, looks like you're lining somebody else up.
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Let's see.
I thought I saw 2 hands coming up saying people wanted to come on the stage, but I wasn't quite sure where. So folks, if you're wanting to come on, you need to let us know in the comments so that we can find you and invite you up. So please do. And Maya, if you're here, let us know, because we did have a request from Ed to bring you up. Yes, fantastic. All right, there we go. Now we're finding you. Oh, sweet. Yay. All right. Yeah, there we go. You're all here. Fantastic. All right. So we've got Seska, Maya, Eleanor, and Tim. So Mike is going to be clicking buttons and inviting you shortly. Fantastic. Maya, hello. Oh,
hello.
Hi. Over to you, my dear.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to talk today. As Hannah said, I'm Maya. I'm from the Discourse, and I'm representing the agency today. We're a design agency and certified B Corp sponsoring this event. Our whole mission and ethos is to use our design as a force for good. So we kind of recognize that as designers we can do so much, and we like to partner with charities and people in the private sector to amplify their message and story. And so support-wise, we do this through brand, web, and content. Like I said, using our design to amplify and edify like the great work out there and happening. Yeah, so whether that's through content or building brands that can attract investment, or user-friendly websites, we really like embed design effectiveness into our work and hope that we're truly making a difference. So that is the Discourse, and yes, we're very excited for the event.
Wicked.
And I'll drop all my information, in the comments if anyone wants to get in touch and find out more about what we do or our work.
Wonderful. Maya, that was also a beautifully executed 60-second pitch. So thank you so much. And thank you to you and the rest of the team for sponsoring our events and giving us all the support that you do. It really means a lot. So thank you.
Oh, we love what you guys are doing too. So.
All right, Maya, we're going to say goodbye to you and thank you. And again, don't forget to pop all of those details in the comments. So let's see what the tech gods have for us. We have Eleanor. Fantastic. Eleanor, welcome to 60-second pitch. Over to you.
Thanks, Hannah. So my name is Eleanor Akers. I run Innovative Energy Consultants, a sustainability and strategy consultancy. At the moment, I'm doing quite a lot of work helping companies with digital health technologies quantify and understand the digital carbon footprint, which, as I'm sure you know more than me, is quite okay.
Like 60-second pitch. Like so, just then you were like 2 seconds
trying
a bit shaky.
Understand as much as you can about what's going on. So I think there's a bit of
yeah, Mike, I think maybe have we got somebody else speaking?
I'm not sure. I did remove.
I think maybe we can hear Maya. Yeah, sorry, Eleanor. Well, you definitely start again in a minute. Hang on, sorry, a little bit of a tech issue there. Okay, it sounds like it's just us. All right. Eleanor, sorry about that. That was a bit weird. Our fault, not yours. Would you like to start again? Because you were saying some really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to work a bit better this time. So I run Innovative Energy Consultants, a sustainability and strategy consultancy. And at the moment, I'm doing quite a lot of work helping companies with digital healthcare technologies understand the impact of their digital carbon footprint and how that can be reduced. as I'm sure you guys are all even more aware than I am, this is a bit of an opaque sphere. So I'm trying to learn as much as possible about this so I can give them the best possible advice. If anybody out there is looking for support in decarbonising their business, particularly with renewable energy and kind of understanding what is truly renewable, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I'll pop my contact details in the chat. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Eleanor, thank you so much. And thank you for an excellent take 2 as well. Look forward to seeing your details in the comments. We're going to say goodbye to you, Eleanor. Thank you very much. And Mike, hopefully we've got the next person lined up and ready to go. This is good. So we're having one of those days where everyone's feeling chatty, I think, which is nice, actually. Makes it a little bit harder for you.
Yeah, I think Tim should be next.
Fantastic. Tim, right? We're just waiting for
Hello, Hannah.
Hi.
Hello, Bristol. Southwest. So I'm dialing in from Sydney, Australia. So very nice to be here late evening. Originally from Bristol, really spend my days at the moment preparing enterprise IT for their climate disclosures. So really, some might know that as a FinOps, GreenOps kind of position. The two things I'd like to share with this community really are to we have some amazing entrepreneurial climate tech startups in Australia, 690 in an organization called Climate Salad. Many are UK bound. So there's actually a couple in Bristol, one called Trace, which is around carbon accounting. I've put the link in my bio if you want to go and check it out. The other one, I'm very active in Climate Action Week Sydney. I lead industry engagement here. So we modeled it based on London for those that know Climate Action Week London. We had our inaugural event in May. Minimum viable product was 18 events, 500 people, but everyone wants to talk about climate. We ended up with 115 events, 53 venues and 6,300 people. So if you do have networks in Australia or Sydney, our next dates are 10 to 16th of March. And really we want to create platforms and conversations that aren't currently being held, the emphasis being on incremental actions. So I'm going to be doing a lot around tech. So I know I'm already talking to Hannah and her team. So
amazing. And Tim, my goodness, what time is it for you then if you're all the way over in Sydney?
10:45.
Okay, all right, not too crazy then
compared to normal times.
Well, we're very touched that you've joined us. Thank you, and what a great intro. Thank you, Tim. We're going to say goodbye to you, and I think we've got a couple of others. At least Seska, I think, is asking to come on. I don't know if there was anybody else as well.
Yeah, I think we've got Sam next. Actually, Sam Parsons.
All right, fantastic, Sam. But Seska, don't worry, we will bring you. We'll bring you on. All right, cool. So we'll bring Sam and then Seska, and then I think that might be it for 60-second intros because we'll probably want to be hearing from Eric. Wonderful, Sam. Hello.
Hello, hi. I'm Sam. I'm based in Oxford in the UK. I work for GitHub, and I just wanted to come on and plug a thing I've been working on. Basically, my real interest is what can software engineers actually do to make things more sustainable in terms of their own projects. I think there's a lot of talk out there, but there's not much kind of practical advice. So I've tried to distill all the specific practical things I found into like a cheat sheet, and I'll drop a link to it in the chat. So that's me.
Oh, Sam, fantastic. Thank you. Welcome to you. And I know GitHub the place where I work, Green Web Foundation, been having some interesting conversations with GitHub as well. So I'm excited to see more cool stuff coming out of GitHub around sustainable green coding, all that stuff. So brilliant. Look forward to seeing that link drop in the comments. And thank you so much for a beautiful 60-second pitch. Sam, we're going to say goodbye to you for now, of course. And we are going to hopefully bring on Seska. I'm guessing that's short for Francesca, but we'll find out. And then
there's James as well, but I think, as you say, we might need to crack on.
No, we can go on. We can squeeze James in because James is great. Yeah. Brilliant. All right. So Seska, Francesca, I feel like I've met you before. Yes, I thought so. The floor is yours.
Hi all, thanks for the introduction. I'm Francesca Pheasant, or Cheska. I work at the Digital Catapult, which is where I met Hannah a couple of years ago. And we have a really exciting opportunity for SMEs working in nature tech coming up. Digital Catapult, Connected Places Catapult, and Satellite Applications Catapult are working on a program called Design to Deliver, funded by Innovation UK. And as of, I think, the 16th of September, an open call will be going out on each of our websites looking for nature tech SMEs to be part of a new type of incubator accelerator program where we want to be helping you test your solution, funding you for this in different locations across the UK from January to March next year. I can't give any more information at this stage, but if you are interested, please have a look out in the coming weeks on our website, Digital Catapult. I'll put it in the chat. And then please apply. Thanks.
Wonderful. That sounds really, really interesting because we've had quite a few events around nature tech SMEs in the past. In fact, our last one just in July was very much themed around that kind of thing. So we're big fans of that here. We will keep an eye out and we will do our absolute best to sort of amplify the call, Cheska. Thank you. And good to see you today as well. Okay, so Cheska, we're going to say goodbye to you. Oh, Mike, yeah, we squeezed James in. Fantastic. James, it's good to see you.
Hi, James.
One of our past speakers, one of my favourite talks as well that you ever gave. So anyway, the floor is yours.
Oh, thanks so much, and hello everyone. Nice to meet you all, and more greetings from sunny Bristol in the harbour side. I just thought I wanted to mention quickly. I think I've been working on as a bit of a hobby project in the cafe in the mornings before work, which is all based on the web sustainability guidelines from W3C, which is kind of new to me, but I got very excited about. However, as with a lot of the W3C guidance, I find quite overwhelming and hard to kind of put into practice, having done lots of things recently with the accessibility guidelines. So similar to the chat from GitHub, I've been dabbling with creating a checklist that hopefully makes it a little bit easier to use and a bit more pragmatic for product and service owners to start identifying where they might want to, or how they're doing really to benchmark their products and services and where they might want to act. So I'll pop a link into the chat and just looking for people to kick the tires of it really. So thank you for 30 seconds, and that's very much appreciated.
Brilliant. Thanks, James. I love what you're doing with those guidelines, and we'll make sure that those links, if there's anybody here that hasn't seen those guidelines before, we'll make sure we drop the links in the chat. Brilliant. Great to see you, James. Nice to think of you being in sunny Bristol Harbourside today. So there we are. We have done 60-second intros. We have had a really wide range of call outs today. So that's what it's all about. Thank you, everyone. You did a stonking job. All right, well, that's enough from me, and we're going to hand over now to Mike, and Mike is going to introduce Eric, and we're all going to sit back, relax, and listen to Eric sharing everything inside his very sizable brain, which I think is going to be a really, really great time. All right, so bye from me, bye from Ellen, and Mike, we'll hand over to you.
Great stuff. Thanks, Hannah. Yeah, just hoping to see Eric shortly.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Eric. Yeah, I can hear you. You might want to enable your camera there.
Camera's on. Green light's on.
Okay, let's shift a few things around here. Bear with me.
I'll just
Oh, there we go. Great stuff.
It was the manual touch. My screen, my little camera cover.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely wiggled. No, good stuff. Thanks so much for joining us, Eric. Yeah, we're really chuffed to have you. Not just one, but two-time Earthshot prize nomination. That's absolutely amazing. And I know you're very busy finishing off a book at the moment, which I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to read. So yeah, just to keep us on track, I will just hand over to yourself. Just a quick reminder to everyone in the audience. If you want to ask some questions to Eric, we'll try and get through as many as we can. There is a Q&A icon, question mark in a box there. Just throw them all in there, and I believe you can upvote the best ones, so we'll try and cover off as much as we can. But yeah, I will now get out of the way and leave it to Eric, and yeah, hope everyone enjoys the talk. Over to you, Eric.
Thank you so much. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Sound check,
Yeah,
Mike.
good.
You can? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And you can see my screen as well, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah. All good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So thank you so much for the introduction and fascinating set of 60-second intros there. I'll try to tie back when I talk to some of those comments that were made actually. So thank you for inviting me. I'm going to talk about I'm going to introduce myself properly, but I'm going to kind of walk through a series of things that I've learned over the last 3 years being in this space. And I'm hoping it's going to be interesting and useful for you. So let me start by me. So I'm Eric Zie, I'm the CEO and I'm founder of GoCodeGreen. We're a climate tech business 3 years old. There's a list of things that I have been nominated for or won. I won't read them through. But there are a couple of things which are really important. I am an author. I have a published book, but I've also got 2 more coming. And Hannah has so kindly contributed to one of them, actually. So something to look out for. I've redacted some of the I've got lined up to be in the books just because I haven't launched them yet. But what are they about? One, the first book was about sustainable software engineering, green design. The second book has been my observations working with organizations about states of readiness and really trying to get to an understanding of why things aren't happening faster in this space. So the second book is all about a framework for action. And the third one is about the topic of the time, sustainability and AI. So some really interesting topics there, all a reflection actually of what I've learned over the last couple of years. So by way of introduction, 25 years working in technology, designing, building, running software products. And I had a moment 3 years ago. My epiphany moment happened 3 years ago, where I kind of looked at myself and thought, you don't know what you're doing. And I don't mean that from I don't know what I'm doing every day, doing my job perspective, but the solutions and the technology that I'm designing and building had no understanding of the environmental impact of those solutions. And this was 3 years ago. So it's amazing to hear, Sam, James, you're now putting pen to paper around techniques and practical guidance for people to take action. We need more of that. 3 years ago, people were still looking at me saying, what do you mean digital has a carbon footprint, Eric? So it's been a bit of a journey. And that's why I wanted to make that the topic of today, just to kind of tell you a few things that have kind of occurred to me as I've been going through this. One of those things, I just, 3 years ago, I just came off the back of winning a Google Brain Award for the use of TensorFlow and AI. And is that relevant? It's relevant because this challenge we have in front of us is such a data-driven challenge. It's so opaque. It's so not very transparent at the moment. And therefore, as a result, there's tendency for it to be easy just to point at the problems. It's so much harder to come up with the actions and the solutions. And I will talk a little bit about the methodology and the approach I've taken to this, which I think is going to resonate actually back with Seska's point around the nature impact of technology. So enough about me. Let's go. When I write my books, I always struggle with kind of being able to put a structure around them. So I have this flowing manga comic style set of things that I use that creates the structure for the chapters or the parts in my books. You're going to have to look at one of my books to see this. But here's one of those pictures. Every time I do this, I have my dog with me. She's a sprocker. Her name's Belle, and my best non-human friend. But anyway, we have this ongoing manga comic thing going on. The challenge and the opportunity is something I pretty much talk about all the time because it is a double-sided thing. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the way I see it, and then I'm going to show you something which is the first time I've shown anybody actually. So there's a bit of a preview launched for you guys today. So our challenge and our opportunity. Don't worry about the sizing of this. You don't need to read it. I'll explain. Most of you, I'm sure, would have seen the climate clock. I took this little screen image the day before yesterday, a couple of days ago. Apparently, we have 4 years, 321 days left before we get to the 1.5 reach. 4 years and 321 days. I started this 3 years ago. In no time at all, that 4 years is going to be over. You know, when I look at this challenge that we have in front of us, and I constantly get it from people, Eric, I don't need to worry because renewables will be the answer. I don't need to worry about the consumption of my technology because it will be run by renewables. You see that number there, 14.4% of the planet's energy is currently sourced from renewables, according to the climate clock. So there's a chasm, there's a gap and a chasm. And what does that tell me? That tells me that the need for action by us in the things that we do every day in technology, whether that be product design, product management, whether it be strategy for technology, the solutions we're building, the design of those solutions, the engineering of those solutions, the testing of those solutions, it requires action. The gap is too big. Okay, so that thing that says, I don't need to worry, it's not true. There is no time. We have to do something. I've got a couple of dials there, right? The first dial on the left and the bottom left. You know, there are numbers all over the place, but these are the numbers I use. So today, the ICT, the Information and Communications Technology sector, is responsible for 6% of global emissions. 6%. That's 3 times the size of the global aviation industry. It is predicted by 2040 to increase to 14%. So you get some of those other dials on the left-hand side. That's bigger than iron and steel and the cement and deforestation combined in terms of impact. So we live in a digital world that's increasingly growing. Everything we do pretty much in our daily lives is in some way driven by the technology we're using. It is growing, it's not going to go away. So the question for us is, how do we create a sustainable future, a sustainable foundation for growth? Because it will grow. And with AI, it's going to be exponential in terms of that growth. So I'll talk a little bit about AI in a second as well. When I talk to organizations, particularly large organizations who have made net zero commitments, it's really interesting when you start to unpick this, and the middle darts in the middle section here. We've been doing some work recently. We've just gone through a product briefing with Gartner. They've said to us, Eric, did you know that most organizations now, big services-based organizations, up to 30% of their total emissions is now related to their use of technology. 30%. When I go into organizations and look at and ask the question, what are you doing about your technology? Do you understand the size and impact of it? The answer is pretty much no, I don't understand it. Okay, so now I've made a net zero commitment, but I don't understand what could potentially be up to 30% of my total emissions. I can't get to net zero as a result. Okay, so this thing from 3 years ago, which was, I don't know, what do you mean, Eric, is now starting to take a shape in the industry where there's a recognition that we're dealing with something here which is material to many organizations. And many of you will have seen as well that there's increasing regulation, there's increasing reporting standards around this space, which are starting to drop down to IT level metrics. This is becoming really important. So the ability to measure this and understand it and create transparency, super, super important. What we found as well as I've been going through this, and effectively my business is all about measuring and identifying action. I'll explain that in a second. For organizations around their use of digital, we have now been through several cycles with some clients where we're seeing opportunities through efficiency, through good engineering, good design, good use of cloud and particularly green hosting, that you can drive an efficiency level of up to 53%. So that is material. 53% of carbon emissions related to the use and building and operation of digital products and services. So what's behind all of that? It's going to be interesting to unpick. So that's the way I articulate. Okay, so I'm going to show you something now in the way that my friend articulates. So when I started my business, I met Jill. Jill is a scientist. She's a climate change artist. some of you may have seen her. She's been on the front cover of Time magazine. She basically uses art and data and combines them to create landscape views. So if you look at the Time cover, it's basically a series of charts. And I asked Jill if she would paint me a picture. She painted me a picture, and this is the picture. So I'm always inspired by weird like sci-fi stuff, and my youth. So in my mind, I had this image of of Star Wars and the binary planets of Tatooine. In some of my other books, I talk about other things like Tron and Prey 1 supercomputers. But here, this is my inspiration. Let me read to you the way she tells the what's behind this picture. Yeah. So the three eclipsed suns, that's what they are, each tell a unique story, where the entire circle represents 100% of a whole. The sun on the left depicts that up to 30% of an organization's emissions can be contributed to ICT. The middle sun shows that working with us, but not necessarily just with us, but anyway, it's all about us in terms of the picture, can create ICT emission reductions of up to 53%. And the sun on the right shares that up to 80% of technologists feel they need new skills to be able to build sustainable digital solutions. The dashes in the sky represent how code runs our world. It increases from left to right, representing the future growth of the ICT sector. On the right, the code is increasingly green, suggesting our potential for sustainable growth. The mountain horizons, you can see, represent two pathways. One, currently, the ICT sector contributes 6% of global emissions. These are expected to increase to 14%. The second pathway is still opportunity to reduce. The story is further highlighted by where the code in the sky meets the mountains. It becomes a river when it meets the landscape, representing the possibility for sustainable technology. If there is an increase in global ICT emissions to 14%, this is depicted by the code in the sky merging into the mountains, taking over the landscapes. Anyway, I had this idea when I turn up to do a pitch or a conversation in an organization. Instead of charts, I could just show a picture and talk about the picture. Anyway, I was testing on you. If you like it, put your thumbs up. If you don't, you think the other version, the pre-version, was better, let me know. So we've got this challenge. There's an opportunity in the challenge, and I'm trying to describe it in a way that kind of is easy to digest, but it's a multi-dimensional, complex challenge. As I've been going through this journey, one of the other things I've discovered is people, and the importance of people and culture. And one of the really worrying things, I think, is that when we engage clients, we ask certain questions. We try to bring groups of people together to ask them how they feel about digital and sustainability and technology. And it's just a sample of some words that we commonly find presented back to us. You can look at the words. There's one word on there which always comes back to me: powerless. And this is the moment we here, 61 people here, need to kind of reflect on that. And I'll end back on that, but that's not true. In my mind, from what I have learned over the last few years in a career in technology, is that we are unbelievable problem solvers. We take the challenges and we can solution things the way that we work. And technology, particularly when you think about code, I'm not talking about manufacturing devices, it has a longer lead time, but when you talk about engineering software, it's at our fingertips. So if there are ways in which we can be more aware of what the carbon impact or the environment impact of that software is, I have a belief that people instinctively care and will therefore do if they are given the techniques and the capabilities to do so. So Sam, James, what you're doing is part of that solutioning, and more people need it. So you've got to get your stuff out there. That's a big learning for me, actually, the role of people, the role of culture within organizations to make this shift happen. I have this this lens on the world now, which has been informed by, you know, the number of organizations I engage with, where we're trying to help them understand what's going on. Many people are fixated, I'll use that word, fixated on energy use of data centers. Absolutely fixated on it, and cloud. Okay, so almost to the cost of not considering anything else. If I can make my stuff run, you know, more energy efficiently in the cloud or my data center, I'm done. If you deal with technology, then you will know that it's a multi-dimensional thing. And the way I look at it is this: there's a red dot there. Through calculations and through assessments with organizations, what we're finding is that if you're trying to do this properly, you want to undertake a deep decarbonisation of digital, you have to layer the thing through. You have to understand the various dimensions of what you're trying to deal with. So the red bit is where people are fixated: data center server energy usage. What we've found is that that makes up 21% of 22%. I know it's all a bit complicated, but you can see the dials. We look at the world in a certain way. There are big things we have to care about in ICT. Cloud and data center, without a doubt, is one of those things. But we also have to care about telecoms and networks. We have to care about the desktop managed services environment, the things we use to actually build and design and use software. And then we actually have to care about software, because the software is the thing that drives the demand for all those other bits. So, and we're finding these numbers playing through reasonably consistently across organizations. So the idea being 30% of your emissions related to use of ICT, 21%, somewhere in the mix of that, in the 22% is related to your use of data center. So the fixation point needs to be broadened out. We need to be able to look more broadly, and we need to understand the interdependencies between these rings, because it is all a complex ecosystem of connections. And this is why what we're trying to do here is unpick some of these things and provide methodology and an understanding to be able to help organizations to understand. So I'll tell you a little bit, I won't labor that point, but I'm going to tell you about this. So this is the way I approached it, our framework and our methodology. We've taken the Greenhouse Gas Protocol's ICT sector guidance. We have effectively, the way I describe it, is codified that into our calculation method. We are compliant with ISO 21031, which is all about software carbon intensity. Many of you will be either part of or know about the Green Software Foundation and the work they've been doing over the last 3 years on software carbon intensity scoring. That's now an ISO standard. So our calculations mesh between the protocol, product standard, scope 3 standard, and ISO standards. We've codified that into a platform. Effectively, what I'm able to do now is go into an organization and take the large chunks of the ICT components and screen those so you can get a baseline view, and then take a digital product, decompose it into life cycle stages according to the product standard, calculate it and measure it. Even more important than measurement is to be able to run data and the algorithms and the modeling to be able to then identify actions to help at product specific level reduction. That's a summary of what we do, and all of that comes together in a series of things that we pull together for organizations to be able to create multi-year action plans to be able to decarbonize their tech. That's effectively what GoCodeGreen's doing. There's a couple of really interesting things in here for me in terms of what's in my mind going forward. One of them is, how do we use AI sensibly in all of this? And the second part is, it's great to understand carbon emissions and water impact, but I now need to translate this into nature and biodiversity impact. So if you can imagine the moment when I can translate the calculations and the data we're running using the frameworks and the method to be able to understand the biodiversity impact of a digital product. That's where we're going with this, just to give you a sense of where we're at, which I think aligns very nicely, actually, Jessica, with what you were saying in terms of nature impact of technology. I know I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to speed up slightly. I've got a few more slides left, but where am I? I'm clicking the wrong thing. So let's talk about AI quickly. So very on the left hand side, NVIDIA's valuation as of a couple of weeks ago. I wish I'd invested in NVIDIA 3 years ago, but anyway, I didn't. What's behind that? Behind NVIDIA's growth and their GPUs is the growth of AI. Apart from this morning when it went down 10%, but anyway, they're still on a good trajectory. What's going on here, right? And a lot of people talk anecdotally about the cost of AI, but and Hannah, I saw you post the other day about we've got to take some control over these things, people creating things without really thinking about the implications of it. I won't talk too much about the middle, but you'll get the slides after. The point being, it's big. The second point being, actually, there's going to be more control around this. There's new regulations coming out, which will absolutely pinpoint this and actually demand that environmental impact of AI is considered. On the right-hand side, we did a little piece of work last year when a leak by Alexa from DeepMind came out, and he said, look what's going on here with OpenAI. Did you know that for every 3-month training cycle on GPT-4, they're using an amount of the stuff, right? And they're running it in this certain way. So we did the calculation. 25,000 NVIDIA GPUs running in California on a certain workload pattern. That's how many they do. That's how many they use for every training event on ChatGPT-4. Each event is 3 months long, 100% maxed out over the 3 months using amounts of data. Okay, 25,000 NVIDIA GPUs. No wonder NVIDIA is making a lot of money. Simple calculation based on geography and grid intensities, etc., lead us to a number. So for every training cycle, that creates 8,160 tons of CO2. You'd have to plant 375,000 trees that's going to sequester that amount of carbon for one training event on GPT-4. So the next time you chat GPT, please write me a love poem in the style of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just have a think about 375,000 trees that it took you to get to that point. Anyway, you get the point, right? This is part of the challenge that we have and part of the balancing act that we need to create going forward. I talk about it in 2 ways, actually. Andrew, Google Brain, he reckons data is a new oil. AI is the engine that's going to use that oil. Data growth. Look at the trajectory of data growth. So data growth over the next 5 to 6 years will increase 3-fold the amount of data we have on the planet. I look at it in terms of the balancing act of what we need to achieve. So if you think about the growth of ICT and the carbon impact of it, and the increase up to 2030, which is predicted at 5%, and you think about the sustainable, responsible AI, green AI, that's leading to AI-driven solutions that help the environment, that's estimated to be a 4% positive benefit. It's not balancing. It is not balancing. And so when we go back to the time clock, everything is coming to a point now where this is no longer choices, but actually we need to build this into what we do. Really important, really, really important. Conscious of time, I'm going to share 2 more things. So this is one thing. I meet super interesting people along the way. One of those groups of people was a company called Grow Your Own Cloud. I don't know if you've come across them. They're super cool. So so Monica and Cyrus are using the power of DNA as a natural storage device. Basically, they can implant data into plants. I know, it's pretty cool, right? So imagine you can then go and grow plants, sequestering carbon, housing data. They're building this technology to do this. Okay. Now we worked with them probably about 18 months ago, and they encoded one of our reports into a plant. It's sitting in California, and they sent me the seeds. So apparently, I can grow those. I can grow those seeds, and in the DNA of that plant will be my report, and then they're going to decode it and give my report back. It's a little bit fragile, this technology. Just be true. The scaling requires work. But what I love about this is the new dimensions of technology that's possible through our own ingenuity and inventiveness. And I love the fact of the crossover here. You know, the ability to store data that sequesters carbon. Amazing. Anyway, I thought that's really cool. So when I do this sometimes face to face, people are more interested in this than anything I'm telling them. But anyway, I thought I'd share that. My closing point. Bit of a rush through of things that I've learned, but I always say that you know, that powerless statement that comes across often, I don't believe it. I believe in the power of us. I believe that we have the ability to be able to make change. I believe we have the skills and the knowledge already to be able to affect the change. And I believe that people, particularly people around this table who've decided to be here, have an opportunity to go back into their organizations to make that change, right? Shift everything. So I'm going to stop because I know, guys, you wanted a little bit of time for questions and Q&A, but hopefully that was interesting. And I'll hand over back to you guys.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Eric. Yeah, really fascinating, and data is the new oil. It's such a great quote as well. So yeah, for everyone in the audience, if you want to do a clapping emoji or pick an emoji of your choice for Eric. Yeah, thank you so much. Just so much insight in there, and we've had requests for your slides as well, which I know you're going to send over, and we'll make sure everyone gets a copy of that as well. So yeah, just looking at the questions, if you're okay to answer a couple. I think Hannah's dropped a couple in here. How would you make green coding bigger and easier to understand?
You know, green coding, in my mind, there's nothing, I don't want to say there's nothing special about it, but yeah, what I've experienced, the principles and techniques of green coding are really all about efficient use of resource. So many of the techniques that I come across are already available, and actually I think the opportunity, actually, to Wilco's point, is how do you bring it together in a way where it's easily consumable for people, for it to be naturally applied. Now, I've got a question here, which is, you know, before long, that's going to be codified. That knowledge of how to do that well is going to be inserted into generative AI solutions. So we don't have to think about it. It's going to be part of the process of software building. What's required, though, in my mind, is that people now need to understand and be able to adopt and use those techniques and know when to apply them. So there's this weird blurring line about to happen in terms of the way we engineer product. And I know this because I'm part of a Horizon program funded project called Genius, which is all about generative AI in the software development process. And we're there to help provide the sustainability angle to it. So this is all happening now, actually. This is all happening now. So I think if we were able to distill some of the things that that Sam and James have been talking about, and actually bring them into a pattern that we can then insert on a consistent basis in terms of the way we engineer product, we're going to make a step forward. I also think that the prevalence of open source code and the ability to take code without having to produce it yourself, if we can ensure that open source code is done in the right way, it amplifies the benefit of the sustainability of it. So there's elements around all of those dimensions which will increase the growth of green coding.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Eric, for that, and thanks for the question there, Wilco. So question from Andrew. Greg, Eric, you mentioned regulation is getting tougher and organizations will need to report on their ICT digital soon. Can you give more details on the regulation, please?
Yeah, so if you look at the CSRD in particular, European reporting standards, corporate reporting standards, when you dig into the detailing of some of it, we're starting to see IT activity metric level requirements. There's a couple of things before the detailing. One is you're actually required to provide, reporting against the material sources of emissions. So if you think about what I was talking about, the 30% being related to technology, that's material. So you're going to have to report against it. Okay, that there is no doubt for large organizations, particularly services-based organizations, this is going to be something you're going to have to do. When you drop into the detail, you're now starting to work IT activity metric level. What does that mean? That means you have to decompose your IT capabilities into a structure so that you can actually measure and report against it. This is why my point around only focusing on one element, a one-dimensional element of data center and cloud, will not allow you to do that. This is as much about the way you engineer, the way you design, the way you build product, as when it's running. So you have to look at the complete life cycle of change and be able to decompose that into IT activity metrics. Now, Andrew, what I don't expect is that it's not going to happen like tomorrow. There's probably a lead time to it. I suspect 18 months to 2 years where that level of detailing is going to have to kick in. The preparation that organizations now need to do to be ready for that now needs to be so much more sophisticated than where we are today. The other one, let me just finish.
Yeah,
talking about AI, the European AI Act, which will be live later this year, definitely next year. There are now dimensions around that, which I was talking about earlier, around environmental sustainability of the AI solutions. So now organizations will be fined, I think it's something like 35 million euros or 7% of global profits if they don't meet those standards. Now, I've been trying to unpick what that environmental element of that AI Act looks like in terms of detailing. It's not really very clear. But I suspect as we evolve over the course of the next 6 to 9 months, it will become very clear. Right? So alongside ethics, the social implications, you will have this environmental lens on any AI solution that's going to be productionized if it is deemed of a certain risk category. So if, for example, you're building an AI solution in a bank that determines whether someone gets a loan, that's high risk. That's material. That's high risk. You're now going to be asked to evidence what you are doing to be able to contain the environmental impact of that solution. You see, this is the world that's kind of changing around us. It's super important, super interesting. It's this stuff is starting to land through. And I hope what it does, it will remove the Wild West that we're in right now, right? Where pretty much everyone can do anything they want. Harness it in a certain way, but we also need to be part of that process to be able to inform it in the right way. As I said, digital is going to grow. We all love technology. We are technology people. This is not about containing the growth of tech. It's about managing the sustainability of it.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for taking us through that. And thanks for the question, Andrew. I think we've got 2 or 3 more if we can keep them really short, if that's all right, Eric.
Fine.
Question from Sam. Do you have any source data you can share for the slide with the percentage and circles? Thanks.
Of course. I will do. I'll do it. I'll do it as part of the slide pack when we send it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll make sure everyone gets a copy of that and you can see exactly where that came from. That's no problem. One from Ishmael, is the French legislation on digital sustainability very effective? I'm not sure if you know that.
Wow, Ishmael, you have to ask the difficult question, and I think I understand French legislation, which I don't. I'm not even going to try and do that. However, I'm going to go and definitely research that after this.
That was a tricky one. Thanks for the question. We'll try and get back to you on that. Question from Misa. I started a green coding meetup near Tokyo, but it's too new for programmers in Japan. Is considering about the environment a normal thing for European programmers already, or just beginning?
I think it depends on maturity. In some places, Ishmael will know, they've been working on this thing in public sector for a couple of years now. In corporate organizations, it's an emerging thing. What I think is that actually, so don't look at it negatively. If use the opportunity to jump ahead. So how do we help you make it more of a thing in the East? How do we make it more of a thing in Tokyo? Because then you accelerate through. Don't do what we've just done, which is kind of meander our way through it. find the right people and jump to the point, and then power up your coders in Japan. And I'll bring my manga comic and kind of bring that along, see if it helps.
Sounds awesome. Nice one. Thanks for that. I think that concludes our questions. So yeah, we will be sort of bringing back Hannah to draw an end to the event. But yeah, just once again, thanks so much, Eric, for coming on and sharing those insights with us. It's been absolutely brilliant to hear everything, and I'm sure Hannah would echo that as well. So yeah, thank you, and we look forward to following your work and reading your next book when it's ready.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Thanks.
Thanks for being so kind, everybody. That was
great stuff. Thank you. Cool. And yeah, I think over to you, Hannah, to wrap up the event. I will disappear.
Ooh, all right. Well, that was a bit of a wicked talk, wasn't it? Thanks, everyone. And a massive thank you to Eric. And there's lots of love and lots of praise coming through on the comments. And that really makes my heart sing that Eric said what a nice group we were, because that matters. It matters a lot. So go Green Tech Southwest community. Thank you. My job now is to sort of bookend the event. It is 1:30. We will not be offended if you drop off at this point. We did say the event would end promptly, and the main event has. But my job now is just to kind of let you know about a few events of upcoming events of interest. We've always done this at our events. We think it's important to remind people that there's loads of stuff going on outside of this community, and loads of places you can kind of be in contact with each other in between our events. So this is just Mike, Ellen and I just sort of cherry picked 3 things that caught our eye, that are either local or relevant to this topic. The first one is something being hosted by Bath University's Centre for Climate Change and Social Transformations. They've shortened that to CAST, which I think was probably a good idea. There is a webinar happening this Friday around ethnicity and UK climate insights. This one caught our eye because diversity has always been really important to us in this group, and we thought that this one was interesting to put diversity into a climate change perspective. So that could be quite cool. Then in a couple of weeks' time, the Green IO London conference is there, and Wilco, that's really cool that you're going to be there. Unfortunately, I tend to take my holiday in September, so I'm missing that one, which is a shame because the lineup really does look absolutely incredible. And if you're able to make it up to London for that day and are able to get hold of a ticket, I really think if this is your interest area, that will be time and money also well spent. Nick, I can't believe you're going to be there as well. No way. Oh, I'm missing out on so much fun. The one talk that really caught my eye is going to be by Sandra Pallier, who is going to use Lego to kind of facilitate her talk, which no idea what she's going to do there, but I think that's going to be pretty fascinating and pretty cool. So Nick, Wilco, definitely catch that one and let me know what you thought. And then lastly, based back in Bristol, the Festival of Sustainable Business exhibition, also happening on the same day as the Green IO conference. Annoying, but if you can't make it to London, maybe if you're around in Bristol, this might be interested. And our own Mike and volunteer Tariq will also be there as well. Oh, Elisa, you're going to be at Green IO as well. See what I mean, folks? It really is going to be the place to be. And also the Business Sustainable exhibition will also be the place to be. Oh, and sounds like Iona is going to be at the Sustainable Festival Business. So loads of places to catch up with people, which is really nice. We also often give a shout out to the climateaction.tech community. Perhaps for those of you that aren't based in the UK, maybe you can't get to London, maybe you can't get to Bristol. If you're looking for an online community, we can't recommend CAT highly enough. It's a global community of over 9,000 tech sector workers, all trying to do this stuff. And so Misa, to your point earlier about is green coding normal? This is a whole group of people that are trying to make it so. And that are trying to create change within the workplace. There is a strong UK scene, but there's a strong scene, strong representation across the world there. So if you haven't heard of CAT before, it's free to join. Definitely check it out. And that leaves me to conclude with letting you know, oh, this slide actually looks a bit busy, doesn't it, compared to our others? But this is to let you know about our next hybrid event, which will be happening on Thursday, the 10th of October. I know Mary was here. I saw Mary in the Mary, one of our speakers in the chat here. I'm really excited about both of these talks. And we kind of were brave and thought, right, we're going to label this charities doing cool things in green tech. So we've got Annette Lamley from the Centre for Sustainable Energy talking about their tool called Solar Wizard, which is all around mapping the rooftop solar potential. And then we've got Chris Graham and Mary Stevens from the Friends of the Earth experiment team talking about experiments in AI for environmental justice, which I think will be a very interesting take on AI that you may not have heard before. So brilliant, Mary's still here. So Mary, we really can't wait to have that talk and hopefully to see lots of you in person in Bristol. If you can't make it in person in Bristol and this catches your fancy, you can come online. So as you can see, we're quite well practiced at running online events. So when we do hybrid, we put as much emphasis onto making the online experience inclusive and as enjoyable as we do with the in-person event. It's like a total bugbear of mine that when you go to hybrid, online often feels like a second citizen. We don't do it that way. You're all important to us. Anyway, so we hope we might see a good number of you there online or in person. And last thing for us to say is Mike, Ellen and I, as we mentioned at the start, have been running these events for a long time. And one of the things that really helps us is to have feedback from the community about things that you've enjoyed. So, you know, it is nice to tell people about things you've liked, but also perhaps things that you think we could do better. So we did see that some of you had problems with the crowdcast today, so we'll take that on board and we'll get in touch with them and see if we can find out what happened. But any other feedback is always welcome, and the involvement of our community, it kind of is what keeps myself and Ellen going in this. So you know, don't be shy, have a chat with us, we're very friendly. All right then, so I think what we do from here is I have no more slides, that is it. We are at the end. For those of you hardcore group that stayed on to the end, thank you so much, and thank you all for the kind comments and participation today. We hope wherever you are in the world, you have a good rest of the day, whether some of you are perhaps getting ready for bed, some of you are maybe early in the morning, some of you are just finishing lunch. Wherever you are, have a good one, and see you soon. Go well. Thanks, everyone.